Vos histoires, vos accusations, votre hystérie contre ce fameux monsieur Gauthier.
Hi, Lydia. How are you? Very nice music.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi, Professor.
Shebnam. Well, that sounds nice in Lydia's background. Barbara's here and Shamla's here. Hi, I'm just saying hi as I get this ready. I hope you are all doing okay. Great. I see Victor came in. Dimitri's here. Hi, you guys. Katie's here. Jawed too. Hi, you guys. People coming in. Barbara says hi in the chat. Buenas tardes. And Jawed says hi. Hi, you guys.
Hello, Professor.
Hi, Alexandra.
Professor, I have a question.
Okay.
About rewriting grammar writing number 1. Where I can submit, I can resubmit number 1.
You got it. That's exactly right. You'll just go back. Exactly. Go back to the assignment and the blue button should say resubmit now. So yeah, you can just resubmit in the same place.
Okay. Okay.
And Shamla says hi. Katie says hi in the chat. Yeah, please, Alexandra, continue.
No, I understand. Okay. I need resubmit number 1 writing, yeah?
Perfect.
Okay. Where is I don't see about writing number 2 about what I need to do in this writing. Maybe
for grammar writing 2.
Yeah.
That's what I'll tell you tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just opened it before class.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right. I think I said hi to everybody who came in. Yeah, we'll wait another minute or 2. But yeah, just like Alexandra was asking, so tonight, if you're wondering, if you saw grammar writing 2, I think I opened it maybe an hour ago, but tonight I'll explain it just like we did last time. I'll show you the instructions and give you some examples and yeah, I think this one will be even easier, you guys, but we'll see. You'll tell me. Last week I was looking at the lesson last week and what we talked about. We talked about a lot of stuff last week. So hopefully this class tonight will go pretty quickly, because once you understand clauses and we start to practice with the conjunctions, sentences, you know, the sentences can go pretty fast. So we'll see how it goes here tonight. Hey, Beatrice.
Hi, Professor.
Howdy. Oh, I should put that in. I forgot to add that to the agenda, Alexander. Thank you. All right. Wait, maybe about 2 more minutes, then we'll get started. How are you guys? Week 8, we're halfway. Are you okay? I know, of course, still crazy, horrible, scary things happening in the world, but classes and life, are we okay? How are we doing?
We're doing fine.
Okay. Beatriz is fine.
I am
Joed?
on vacation.
Oh, eso, ¿dónde
Ay,
estás?
nice.
I see the mini split. Are you in Mexico?
Yes, in
Ajá,
Guadalajara.
Ah, qué lindo.
Nice.
Guadalajara, Guadalajara.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see the air conditioning I know is behind Beatriz. I can see is more like Mexico than the United States, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, bueno. Guadalajara is a beautiful city in Mexico
Yeah,
for
I
people
like
who
it.
don't know.
But there is a lot
Jawed,
of traffic now.
is it? Yeah, there's too many cars all over the world, I think.
I
but,
know.
I went to Ciudad de Mexico and it was insane. It was just
Well,
crazy.
now Guadalajara is
Yeah.
kind of like Ciudad de Mexico because I am from Mexico City.
Yeah.
And I am like, oh my God, this is becoming a Mexico City. Really bad.
Yeah. Still beautiful though. It's nice to walk
Yeah.
if you don't, you know, if you're trying not to avoid, if you can avoid the cars. Jawed, I saw your hand. I want to make sure I let you talk too. Jawed, please.
Just I have a question. It is not like related to the class.
Okay, sure.
Professor, I want to know that what day will be the last day of our class because I need to plan a trip. And this is my question. And beside of that, so there is another thing I thinking about that. I'm thinking like when we go outside the country, can we participate in the Zoom? Can we participate in classes?
Yeah, look, Beatriz is in Mexico right now. Yeah, she just said she's in Guadalajara. Yeah.
Really? We can do that?
Yeah. You just need to figure out the time zone. So what are you, 2 hours ahead, Beatriz, or how?
Yes, it's 2 hours ahead. Right now for me is 7:04.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you just gotta
an internet.
You just got to figure that out, Joed. I had a student in South Africa this semester. Of course, I had students in Afghanistan. The time difference, of course, is a little bit scary, but yeah, you can do it. You can do it.
Yeah, you can do it.
You can do it. Let's see. And the day of the final exam. So again, we don't have a test, right? The way that I give quizzes and tests in this class is just like we've done. I'll give you assignments that you have time to do on your own, okay? But let's see. I think our evening class, Monday, Wednesday, is scheduled for Monday, May 16th. So that's the absolute last day that you will have anything due, right? But our final Zoom meeting is the week before that. So that's what, May 16th is the last day that you can turn things in Canvas. And that means our last Zoom Coed, is May 11th. May 11th is the last Zoom day. Is Joed still here? Did he get kicked out? Okay. Did you hear me, Joed?
Yeah, right now I hear you. Something has happened with my computer and it's completely shut it down. I'm really sorry for that, Professor.
No problem.
Yeah.
Final Zoom day is May 11th.
May 11th is the last day.
Yep. Final day to submit work in Canvas is May 16th.
May 16th. So I gotta know that. I gotta
final
know that.
Zoom May 11th. Final a project or assignments due in Canvas May 16th. Yeah. What else?
So I got the both thing. So the final day, I got this one, and beside of that, so when we go outside the country, we can participate in our class. Just we have to think about the time, like the difference of the time. Okay.
Yep.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep.
Really appreciate. And so the second thing was, Professor, about the dependent and independent class. Did we study that, or am I study that in the book?
We started, it's in the book, and I showed you the pages, and we started it last night, and we're going to continue last week. We started it last week, and we're going to continue to look at it tonight.
Yeah, because I was worried about that. Can we start our sentence with independent class? Because, or is it like mandatory that we have to start our dependent class with because?
Nope. Your dependent, well, we'll start, maybe this is a good way to start. So I just want to make sure I say hi to Shamsia and Dina and Vlad's here. Galina came in. I think Shamla, I think I said hi to everybody. Victor. Okay, so let's just start with Jawad's question, because that's our kind of quick warm up here. So I'm not forgetting your question, Jawad. I'm going to start class so that we can answer it.
Okay,
so
I got it. Sorry.
Here's what we're doing. Like I said, it is Wednesday, March 10th, week 8. We are halfway through. And like I said, I hope you are all doing well, especially, of course, my people with friends, family, and loved ones in Ukraine. I love you, care about you. Anything I can do, as usual, let me know. I'm thinking about you, and I'm praying for you. And of course, praying for your family and praying for peace, please, Lord. And of course, same in Afghanistan. I know my beautiful Afghan students, you have friends and family, and it's scary, scary times. So I hope everyone is safe. Here's what we are doing in our grammar class. Tonight, we're going to talk about sentence types, the 4 types of English sentences. And then I'm going to introduce grammar writing 2. Now, Jawed was asking about clauses, dependent clauses, independent clauses. Can I start a sentence with one? Do I have to start it? Do I need to use because? What's up with that? So before we talk about that question, Jawad's question of, do I need because for a dependent clause? Let's look at some example sentences, and all we're practicing doing is finding the number of clauses. And remember, a clause is one subject, one verb. That's a clause. One subject and one verb. That's a clause. So first sentence, I like the sun. How many clauses in this sentence?
1.
I agree. That means we've got one subject and one verb. What's my verb?
Like.
I agree. And what's my subject?
Hi.
So far, so good. Oh, so easy, Jeff. We're so happy.
Professor,
Okay.
if that is too long and just we have one subject and one verb, that's one class, even if that is like a 2 lines.
Well, let's look at the next example. Let's look at the next example.
Okay.
I like the sun, comma, but not too much. How many clauses?
2.
2.
One.
1 clause.
If
Because
there's
one
two
subject.
clauses, if there's 2 clauses, that means 2 verbs. So where's one verb?
Yeah, just one verb.
Like. And
Subject.
Where do we have another verb?
no.
So
No.
there, by definition, we cannot have 2 clauses because we only have one verb. So this is like the question Jawed was just asking. The length of the sentence does not matter. Remember the activity that we did last week, right? Lesson 11, where we have that long, crazy phrase at the beginning of the sentence before we even get to the subject, right? Do not look for how long the sentence is. Look for verbs. So I like the sun, but not too much. And we do have a conjunction here, but after the conjunction, I don't have a subject, I don't have a verb. That means I don't have a clause. Next one. I like the sun, comma, but I always wear sunscreen. How many clauses?
2.
2.
Yeah, I hear 1, I hear 2. You know what I'm going to say. Where are my verbs?
Like.
Where and like.
Yep.
Like and verb.
Good. I heard I like the sun and where. If we think like and where are subjects, that means I is a subject. What's the subject for the verb where?
Word.
I.
Definitely is. Yep. I've got 2 subjects. I've got 2 verbs. That means I've got 2 clauses. How about the next one? I like the sun when it's not too hot. When it's not too, oh, let's go back to this one. Where's my conjunction in this sentence?
But
Good. And does anyone remember, I know we did this very quickly, is this coordinating or subordinating?
Coordinating.
Right, one person was confident. Yes. I'll make this short for coordinating, right? Co-ord. This is a coordinating conjunction. And we'll talk about, that's like Jawed's question about dependent and independent clauses. We'll look at that again on the next couple slides. I like the sun when it's not too hot. We know, I tried to make this easy here for practice and warm up.
So,
I and like again. Do we have another verb?
No.
yes,
Yeah.
is apostrophe
S.
is indicate.
Yes, my friends. Yes. And what's the subject?
It
it,
It.
So where's my conjunction?
when
Excellent. And now, is this coordinating or subordinating?
subordinated.
Coordinating.
And remember, the easy way to think about this in this class, you guys, remember this list that we said, the long list of subordinators from last week? The easiest way to think about, is this coordinating or subordinating in this class is it one of the 7 fanboys conjunctions? If it's not, for, and, nor, but, or, yet, or so, if it's not one of those 7, it's subordinating, okay? So Jawed's question was, do you need to use because? No, right? No, but because is always a subordinator, right? When it's a conjunction. When is always a subordinator when it's a conjunction, right? Because, why? Because it's not one of these 7, right? It's not the fanboys. This is the good news about coordinating conjunctions. It's the only reason you hear grammar teachers talk about fanboys, fanboys, fanboys. It's because memorizing these 7 conjunctions will really help you when you're thinking about how to put your sentences together, because these are the only 7 coordinating conjunctions in English. Tonight, I'm going to tell you what coordinating conjunctions do, right? Why they're so important. But before that, I want to make sure it's crystal clear, we can say the American idiom, right? It's as clear as crystal that these are the 7 coordinating conjunctions. So I like the sun when it's not too hot. 2 clauses, in this case, a subordinating conjunction. And my last example, I always use sunscreen and wear a hat. How many clauses?
1.
I heard 1, I heard 2.
Because we have one subject, we have parallel structure.
Got it.
With verb. Use
Got
and
it.
be. It's parallel.
Alexandra's on it. She said parallel structure. That's right. Last week I talked about something called compound verbs, which we can do when we have one subject, but we say, I use sunscreen and wear a hat. Well, we do have 2 verbs, right? But they both are connected to the same subject. And remember, by definition, a clause is 1 subject and 1 verb. So I cannot have more than 1 clause if I only have 1 subject, by definition. So this sentence has 1 clause. Questions before, so this is important that you understand this before we go on to sentence types. So if this doesn't make sense, let's stop here, ask questions, because next is helping you understand, once you see the clauses, once you understand how many clauses, then you can identify the type of sentence. So we got to make sure that this is clear. So questions, ideas, concerns.
I have a question.
Alexandra, please.
If we say two sentences together, I always use sunscreen and wear a hat, comma. I like the sun when it's not too hot. It was dependent and independent sentence together. It will be a complex sentence, complex, what's this type of?
I'll answer this by the end of class tonight. This will be clear, but I want to say one thing, and I'm going to come back to this at the end. I'm going to duplicate this, copy this slide, and put it at the end so I can show you. What was your example, Alexandra? I always use sunscreen and wear a hat, comma, and then what was your, how did you finish this?
And previous sentence, if you see previous slide.
Like this.
I like the sun when it's not too hot.
This.
We need end because.
I was going to say, we'll talk about this at the end of class, but this, you guys, this is an example of one of the biggest errors in English language for all writers, not just multilingual people like you. This is a comma splice, and you cannot do it. And when we finish class tonight, I will explain why. To answer Alexandra's question, though, yeah, if you have a conjunction, you might be able to do it, Alexandra. But I'll show you what I'm talking about, and I'll answer Alexandra's question after we talk about sentence types. Because Alexandra's saying, what type of sentence is this if we do it that way? But I want to make sure I give you the definitions of the sentence types before we do that. So excellent question. I'm going to answer it.
It be a comma, it's a period.
Yes, well, we'll talk about that too again. We need to talk about punctuation after we talk about the sentence types for sure. So I did not forget. Anyone else have questions about these, understanding why these sentences have one clause, two, like why these, the answers to these little examples. Does this make sense?
Yes.
This is your last call before we go to sentences, you guys.
I have a question.
Of course.
So when I was a little confused, when you use but, it's like, let me see, this is the same, right? Because I don't want to be confused. If I have two subjects and two verbs, it's two clauses, and that's it. I don't want to be confused about the coordinate.
Yep.
Okay.
But you need to be, but you need to know the difference because it's important for sentence types, Barbara. So you need to understand what type of conjunction you're looking at. You do.
Okay.
And if you're still like, oh my God, that's too much, then just start with the coordinators, Barbara. These were in last week's PowerPoint. Just start with these. So if you train your brain, if you just memorize, okay, these 7 are coordinators, that's a start. You know what I mean? That's a start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jawed.
Professor, my question is that so to make like a sure myself that the last thing I always use a sunscreen and wear a hat. So if we have like a one subject and several verb, in this case still we have like a one clause, right? You already explained, but I'm a little bit confused.
Correct. And if I did this, if I said and, but if I put a comma and a conjunction and added another pronoun, now I have 2 clauses, right? But when I just use a conjunction and don't have another subject, it's one subject, even though we have 2 verbs. One subject, that means 1 clause. That means one clause.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Professor?
So let's, yes, of course, please.
We use coordinator with, we have independent sentence and soup when we have also independent and soup when we have dependent. Yeah,
that's it. That's the basic rule, and that's what that's what the next slide is, right? So again, this long list of subordinators that we talked about last week, you can Google it. I think I put it, I think it's kind of like a funny short music video with like that people made about subordinating conjunctions. You know, you can read a lot of information about the subordinating conjunctions online. Sometimes for many students, for English learners, it's like too much. It can feel like too much. That's fine. That's why focus on the fanboys, right? For and nor, but or, yet so. And this matters, coordinating and subordinating conjunctions, when we talk about the sentence types. Now, this is exactly like Alexandra was saying. So there are 4 types of sentences in English. This is all on page 53 and 55 of your textbook. So after class, or if you're going through Grammar Writing 2 and you want more information, It's all there in your textbook on those pages, okay? But here are the 4 sentences, and this is why you will see it's important to understand clauses. A simple sentence is one independent clause. That is a simple sentence. So this sentence, I like the sun, it's one clause, it's an independent clause, it is a simple sentence, okay? A compound sentence is at least 2 independent clauses joined by a coordinating conjunctions. That's why the fanboys are important, right? If you see a fanboy and more than 2 clauses, you can kind of know you are looking at probably a compound sentence. So again, compound sentence, 2 independent clauses joined by a coordinating conjunction. For example, I like the sun, comma, but I always wear sunscreen. Well, I've got 2 clauses. I've got a coordinating conjunction. It's one of the fanboys. This is a compound sentence, right? So simple sentence, 1 independent clause. Compound sentence, at least 2 independent clauses joined by a coordinating conjunction. Let's stop because those are the easy ones. So let's stop and allow for questions. Does that make sense? What this means and why? I'll put this on the list here underneath here. Yes, Jawed.
Professor, if you go back to the previous page, I will mention my question.
I will in just 1 second. Yes. I want to make sure that I label this for you guys when you look at it later. Yes.
In the compound sentence, at least 2 independent classes joined by, if that is not like a coordinating conjunction, so still we will have like a compound sentences.
No, that's what's next. That's what's next, Joey.
I
That's
see. I
what's
got
next.
it. Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
So there was a yeah.
Yep,
And this,
that's what's next. But these are the basic definitions. So I wanted to make sure I'm showing you examples, right? So
okay.
yeah. Anybody else? Anybody else about simple sentence? So again, this is a simple sentence. I like the sun. 1 subject, 1 verb. It's a full independent clause sentence. That's a simple sentence. This sentence, I like the sun, comma, but I always wear sunscreen. 2 clauses, coordinating conjunction. This is a compound sentence. That makes sense. Do those 2 examples make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent. Jawad's question is, well, we know, Jeff, you were talking about subordinators last week. What's going on? Well, we have a complex sentence. A complex sentence is at least 1 independent clause and 1 dependent clause joined by a subordinating conjunction, right? So this was like Jawad's question as well. Does that mean we need because? Well, it might be because, but if we look at this example here, it doesn't have to be. And if we look at our slides from last week, there are many, many, many subordinating conjunctions in English that we can use, right? But if we see 2 clauses and we don't see a fanboy, we don't see one of our 7 coordinators, that's a big clue that it's a complex sentence, right? So here, I like the sun. When it's not too hot, I've got 2 clauses. I've got a subordinating conjunction. This is a complex sentence. Questions?
At least 1 independent clause and 1 dependent.
That's it.
Clause.
One independent clause and 1 dependent clause joined by a subordinating conjunction. I'll give you some more examples here just so you can see. I'll show you, I'll just kind of think of some right now. At the end of class, I'm going to ask you guys to write some examples, but I love teaching grammar even. What else? Great. I love teaching grammar, even though it can be difficult. After I went to the movie, I took a nap. Sometimes I like to sleep in because I feel so tired. Where are my subordinating conjunctions in these sentences, you guys? Let's just do the conjunctions first. In this first sentence, what's the conjunction?
Even though?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what's the conjunction in after I went to the movie, I took a nap?
After.
Excellent. And sometimes I like to sleep in because I feel so tired.
Because.
Sometimes.
Excellent.
Because,
Sometimes,
yeah.
don't be
Because,
fooled.
because.
Sometimes it's still an adverb.
Mhm.
Yeah. And here's our verbs, right? Remember, I'm saying these are complex sentences. That means I've got two verbs. And like I said, we can include the auxiliaries. That's fine with me. Right?
Mhm.
Two subjects, two verbs in every sentence, and one subordinating conjunction. These must be complex sentences.
Oh, to subject, to verbs.
That's it.
One question.
Yep.
The subordinate conjunction doesn't need to be in the middle of the sentence, like
Now,
after.
Beatrice is asking a very important question, and I've got a slide to show you about this because this is a very important question for commas, right? And there's a rule. I'll go to this slide. I'll go to this slide because of the question. Let me see. Complex sentences and commas, right, Beatrice? So here's the rule.
Yeah.
When you have a complex sentence, that's one independent clause and one dependent clause joined by a subordinating conjunction. You can put the independent clause first or the dependent clause first. You can move them, right? In this example sentence that I gave you, after I went to the movie, I've got the dependent clause first, right? But in these other sentences, I've got the dependent clause after, right? I've got first, I love teaching grammar, and then my conjunction. Sometimes I like to sleep in, and then my conjunction. Well, this is fine. We can do this, right? But if you start with the independent clause, no comma. If you start with the dependent clause, comma. So you can move them. You just need to make sure that you use the comma appropriately. So we could do the exact same thing.
Mhm.
So, okay.
Usually we don't start sentences with because when we're writing, but if you were speaking, you could absolutely do this.
Oh.
And this is still both of these, right? All these examples are still complex sentences. The grammar is perfect in all of these sentences. The only thing that is important is that it changes the comma rule, right? That's the only thing that's different. That's the only thing that's different. And really, you guys, understanding sentence types is going to help you with your commas so much, right? So much. And in fact, I can now sort of answer, or I can go back to, I know Alexandra was asking about what if we did have a conjunction, but this example that Alexandra was giving us, I always use sunscreen and wear a hat, comma. I like the sun when it's not too hot. This is an incorrect sentence right now because there's no conjunction, right? And that's why Beatrice was saying, make it a period. Okay, that's fine. But here we're sticking all these different clauses together, but we're not following the conjunction rules, right? And this is a very common error for students at the 310 and 320 level. So again, understanding independent and dependent clauses, how you stick them together, when you see it in reading, and when you notice your own mistakes, it will really help you feel more comfortable with where to put commas when you're writing. It honestly, you guys, these comma rules that, like here I was saying, complex sentences and commas, this rule, if you start with the dependent clause, you need a comma. This is one of the most common comma errors students make. So if you get this and start practicing it, you're on your way. You're really on your way. Now, here's another comma rule, since we're talking about this. Now I'm talking about compound sentences, right, you guys? So that's two independent clauses joined by a coordinating conjunction. Well, in compound sentences, you always need a comma before the coordinating conjunction. I like hiking, comma, and camping is also very fun. I like hiking, comma, but sometimes it is very difficult, or it is difficult. I like hiking, comma, so I try to do it once a month. It doesn't matter which one of the fanboys, but if you've got two independent clauses and a coordinating conjunction, you need a comma at the end of the first clause, right? These two comma rules, always have a comma before your coordinating conjunction in compound sentences, and always put a comma after the dependent clause if it comes first in a complex sentence. I swear to you on my life, this is like 80% of comma mistakes. I mean, if you get comfortable with this, this is most of the comma errors students make is connected to these two examples. Now, again, it will take practice. I know I'm saying this very quickly, but that's why it's important that we practice it and start to see some examples of it, because it will really help you feel more comfortable when you're writing. Okay, questions. Joanne.
Yeah, Professor, and the sentences that you brought like a before, so I couldn't find the, I got the rules. I understand what is like a compound sentences, like a one slide back. If we go one slide back, and so there is like a, right now, like before that you mentioned some sentences like you highlighted with the color, right?
This one?
Yeah, this one. So right now I don't know, only in the first sentence I know I love teaching grammar. I can understand this is dependent clause, and the second one is independent clause.
Nope.
Right now I cannot understand which one is dependent and which one is independent.
Well, the short answer to that, Joe, it is the one that has the subordinator is the dependent clause. But the other way is partly that is just by feeling a little bit, right? Because we did this last week too. I know quickly, but still. I love teaching grammar, period, even though it is difficult, period, because it is so much fun, period. My sister loves camping, period. Which one of these could be a sentence just by itself? Which one can stand alone? I love teaching grammar. Is this okay by itself?
Yes.
Yes.
It is.
Yes. Yes.
Definitely. How about even though it is difficult, period?
No, it's dependent.
And it's
Oh.
something else.
We don't have complete meaning, right? We don't have complete meaning. If you just said, even though it's difficult, a person would be like, what? Finish your idea. What do you say? What? Even though what is what? Right?
What is
How about
the
because it is so much fun?
Dependent.
Dependent.
What is so much fun? And because what? What are you talking about? Right? My sister loves camping, period.
Independent.
Got it.
Independent.
You got it.
Mhm.
Now, this, I will agree, is a little bit more challenging, again, for language learners, because this is sort of just a little bit of a feeling. You just kind of have to feel and say, well, that's not a complete idea, right? That's not a whole idea. But again, in this class, and when you look at sentences in the textbook, Jawed, the easy answer is, do you see a subordinating conjunction, right? Because by definition, subordinating conjunctions are the beginning of a dependent clause, right? If you see a subordinator and a subject verb after it, that's the beginning of the dependent clause by definition.
I got it. Yeah, right, sir.
Yep.
Okay,
Excellent question. Yeah, excellent question. What other questions do we have? I'll show you. The last one is compound complex. We'll look at it. It's a little more complicated, but I really want you to feel comfortable with the first three. Okay, so any questions about simple, compound, and complex sentences?
Not yet.
I love it. Okay, let's do this. Yeah, okay. This is easy. Okay, I'll talk about compound, complex, and then we'll practice a little bit. So, simple sentence, one independent clause. Compound sentence, two independent clauses joined by a fanboy. Complex sentence, at least one independent clause and one independent joined by a subordinator. Compound complex is at least two independent clauses joined by a coordinating conjunction, and then a dependent clause with a subordinating conjunction, right? And this sounds complicated, but it's more normal than you think. For example, I've got a few more sentences just as examples here. I like hiking, comma, and camping is a lot of fun, but I do not have enough time to go very often. Oh no, this is not right. Hold on. I was trying to show you a different example. Let's look at these and then we'll talk about it. Okay. I like to go hiking and camping. Where's my verb?
Like
Hiking.
And what about go?
Let's go.
Oh no, that's to go. It's infinitive. So no.
And this is really, these are gerunds. These are the objects, right? These are the things
Yes.
that I like. Yeah, I like. So one clause, it's a stand by itself. What type of sentence is this?
Independent
It's
clause.
a simple sentence.
There it is. Thank you, Beatrice. That's exactly right, right? It's one independent clause by itself. It's a sentence. This is a simple sentence. I have the answer key on the next slide, okay? Okay, I like hiking, comma, and camping is also a lot of fun. Where are my verbs?
Is it
Like,
like?
hiking, camping.
And where's
Is.
hiking? Hiking again is a gerund. Where's my verb?
Is.
Thank you.
Is.
And where's my subject? What's the subject in the second clause?
Camping.
camping.
And the coordinating clause.
There it is. Thank you, Beatrice. You're on it. So I've got two clauses and a fanboy. What type of sentence is this?
Compound.
Compound.
Yes, compound, right? Two clauses and a fanboy, two independent clauses and a fanboy, compound. I like hiking, even though it can be difficult. Where's my verbs?
Like
Like
can be.
Can be.
and can.
Can be.
I think if it's only in this class, I will never make you choose just one. I think can is a modal and be is the verb, but both are part of the verb phrase, so I'm not worried about it. And where do we have a subordinator or a coordinator?
Even touch. It's
Even so,
Coordinating.
it's a subordinating clause.
It is a subordinator. It is not a coordinating, and it's not, I'll say this many times, right? It cannot be a coordinator because it is not one of these seven.
Right.
Oh, so when you have one of that one, it's like coordinating. Oh,
Yes, so
Oh,
that's
okay.
it.
Yeah,
You got
that's
it.
a subordinating clause.
That was your question at the beginning of the class, Barbara, and that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
That's all you need to know. If it's one of these seven and you got and it's connecting two clauses, coordinator.
Okay. I
Because
thought
sometimes-
like what conjunctions? I was like,
You
what?
got it. You got
Oh,
it.
okay.
I have already told you guys, that is my favorite sound as a teacher. That's the best sound. That's the best sound in the world when you're a teacher. It's like, okay, that's why I'm saying, look, think about this stuff, right? Look at subordinators. It's interesting, but sometimes students say, Jeff, give me a list. I want to memorize the subordinators. And I'm like, don't hurt yourself. You know, it's too much, right? All you need to focus on for now is understanding these seven. Understanding these seven. Now, let me stop. Let me fix this. I can't.
If we added for last sentence at because I am working, because I have a lot of work, something.
I need to give us another example because I made a mistake. Let's do it.
I say if we add for this last.
I know. I want to show you the one thing. Yeah. Okay. So I do want to talk about that last because Alexander's on it like usual, my linguist. But let's look at this one. So I do want to show you. So I've got and I've got but, right?
Yeah.
Let's see what we got. I've got like, I've got is, and I've got do not have. I
too.
got it. And Beatrice is on the other one. So here, how many clauses do I have here?
3.
1, 3.
Two,
You got it.
3. Yeah.
1, 2, 3. And I've got 2 conjunctions. Are they both fanboys?
Yes.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah, they are.
So even though I have 3 clauses, 2 coordinators, this is still a compound sentence. Because remember, up here it says at least 2 independent clauses joined by at least 2, but we can keep adding. Now, again, with lots of love and respect to my Spanish speakers, you can't just keep going forever like you kind of can in Spanish. The sentences go on for whole paragraphs in Spanish. But in English, about 3 or 4 clauses is kind of the most you can do, but you can have a sentence like this with 3 clauses, 2 coordinators, and it's still compound. Now, this was what Alexandra was saying, and I wanted to show you about compound complex, where we have 2 independent clauses and 1 dependent clause. So I like hiking, but I do not get to go very often because I work. And here I've got but and because. But is a fanboy, but is because a fanboy?
No.
No. So again, I've got 3 clauses, 1 coordinator.
1 subordinator.
You got it. 1 subordinator. This is compound complex.
So it's at least 2 independent clauses joined by a coordinating conjunction and 2 dependent clauses. If you go back to
the table.
The slides, and 1 dependent clause and subordinate conjunction. Oh.
Compound complex.
Compound.
Now, most of you, some of you might be writing compound complex sentences right now. If you're not, that's fine. That's totally fine, right? But again, I've said this last week too, but it's really important that if you came into this class only using simple sentences, right? If in your welcome letter, it was just, my name is Jeff. I am happy to be here. I want to learn English. I love to learn. I'm a good student. If it's just simple sentences like this, we gotta start using more than 1 clause, right? Because at 310 and 320 level, we need to be using, in a perfect world, all 4, but we definitely need to be using simple, compound, and complex sentences. That's the expectation at this level of writing, right?
Mhm.
I guess so.
Okay.
Can you, okay,
Well-
I want to read it. Can you say in the example, I like hiking, but I do not get to go very often because I work all the time. Okay.
You got it?
Yeah.
You got it.
Professor,
Yep.
if we have one independent and two dependent, it's still a complex sentence. Yeah.
She's on it. Yeah, she's on it. I'll duplicate the slide. Because you are our linguist, Alexandra, will you give us an example sentence like that? Can you think of one off the top of your head?
When I go to America, I was very happy because I can meet my family.
Love it. I'm gonna just change things to the past tense, but that was perfect.
When
When I went to America, I was very happy because I could meet my family. I don't know if everybody agrees, but to me, this doesn't look like a super scary advanced sentence, right? We could say this. You guys could say this. So let's start with my verbs. Anybody? Where are the verbs in Alexandra's wonderful sentence?
When.
Yep.
Was.
Yep.
Meet.
There it is. And again, if you want to say could, that's fine. But yeah, meet.
Mhm.
But you're on it. I think meet is the better answer, Beatrice. But could is part of the verb phrase. And my subjects are
I
pronouns.
I. Pronouns, yeah.
Here's this has to be the subordinator. It's the only word before the
Subordinated.
clause in a dependent clause.
Subordinated clause, that was right.
Yep. So here I've got three
Clause.
clauses, two subordinators. This is a complex sentence.
Welcome. Mhm.
Alexandra, you're my teacher's assistant for this class, Alexandra.
Thank you.
Yeah, and again, you'll see more examples of this in the book and the video that I have for tutorial 3 if you watch them, right? We can make this, we can put clauses together to make interesting sentences, right? So again, after this class, in a reading and writing class, you will never need to analyze everything you read or everything you write, right? And go, is this compound? Is this complex? Ooh, I'm going to choose to use a compound complex. No, right? You don't need to think that way forever. But it's important that you become aware of this stuff because it's going to help you fix errors in your sentences when you see how these clauses come together, right? How these clauses come together. I'm just checking my time. Okay, good. Questions?
Are we going to have some exercise where we
Yeah,
can
I've got more practice here.
Okay.
So what I want is, this is going to get you ready for really the biggest place you practice this, Barbara, is grammar writing 2, which I will introduce before we end class. But I'm going to show you what I will ask you to do in grammar writing 2 right now. So I want to look at this sentence and I want us to identify the subject noun phrases. This is just like we practiced before. We're going to bold the subject noun phrases, underline the verbs, and then you're going to tell me how many clauses and what type of sentence. So here's the first example. I like the sun, comma, but I always use sunscreen when it is bright outside because using sunscreen is healthy. Where are my verbs?
Like, use.
Use.
Excellent.
Is verb.
Is
Verb.
Using.
Yep.
Is.
No, it's
Using looks like a
No.
verb, but we'll see what it is here in a second.
Is.
Where are my and I should underline, these are my rules. I'm not going to make you guys use colors here, but underline, right, is. Where's my subject?
I.
Yep.
I.
It.
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 And where's my subject? What is?
Sunscreen.
Using
Sunscreen.
There it
sunscreen.
is.
Using.
Okay.
Using
I think
is
again, if we're doing
Rudy.
like we did last week, right? If we're looking at the whole noun phrase, just like we did last week in lesson 11, what is healthy? Using sunscreen, right? So again, I think it was Barbara. If it wasn't, forgive me. Jaron,
Can you just only use sunscreen? Like a sunscreen is healthy.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. But you know, I'm trying to mess with you guys a little bit, you know, just scare
Thank
you a
you.
little bit, you know.
Very nice.
Pobre. Yeah. Okay, where's my conjunctions?
When,
But
but,
Good. You're right though, Beatrice. She gave us one too.
When,
when,
because,
On it. Good. So how many clauses do I have here?
or,
2,
3, 4.
Got it. And remember our rules. Remember our rules. So I've got, and let's see, I'm not going to make you, again, I don't want to make you too sad. You just need to think to ask yourself this question. How many of these clauses are independent?
I like the sun is one.
She's on it.
Two.
Using sunscreen
yeah,
is
2.
no.
Two independent, two dependent.
What is
So,
the other
okay.
one?
Where's the second one? Tell us, Dimitri or Alexandra, you guys are on it.
Use sunscreen.
I like
Where-
the one, I like the sun, and using sunscreen is healthy.
Nope. This is one of the independent. I'm thinking of Barbara. The clue for an independent clause is fanboys, fanboys,
Yes,
fanboys.
but
Coordinating conjunction, coordinating conjunction.
I always use sunscreen. Two first.
These are my two independent clauses. There's the fanboy. Then I've got two dependent clauses after, right? Now remember, I said well, let's go to the rules. So that means I've got two independent clauses, one coordinator, two dependent clauses with two subordinators. So what do I have here? We know it's not a simple or compound because these two types of sentences do not have dependent clauses. So we know it's not one of these, right? So it's got to be one of these. What do we got?
complex sentence.
Yeah, I think so. We have more than two independent clauses joined by coordinated conjunctions, and we have two dependent clauses with subordinating conjunctions. So it's a compound complex sentence.
She's on it. Beatriz, all the way from Guadalajara, she is on it.
Yeah, so why is using the sunscreen is healthy is not independent?
Because
Because
we have
okay.
Because
we have
Because of because.
And again, this is again like Jawed's question, right? Part of this is just getting comfortable and seeing more examples. If you're not sure, do this test, right? We can break them into pretend that we're breaking them into sentences.
Yeah, that's why, because using sunscreen is healthy, is independent by
I
itself.
agree with him.
But we include the conjunction, right?
Okay.
So if the conjunction won't be there, it will be an independent clause.
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct. If this was the sentence, definitely. Yeah, definitely. But
I got it too.
and remember again, like Barbara's, this is why the fanboys are important, right? You can't just say, but I always use sunscreen, but these 7 conjunctions, the coordinators are so powerful in English that we don't need to worry about this, right? We still consider clauses that start with fanboys, these 7, we still consider them to be independent, right? So that's it. So this would be, and I'm not asking you to do this on grammar writing 2, you guys. I'm not asking you to.
Okay.
I'm not asking you to identify the type of clause. but I am asking you to identify the sentence type. So you kind of need to figure it out anyway, right? But I'm not going to make you show your work. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Questions about this one? I've got another one to practice.
No, I like the song, but I will.
Professor, do we have those fan guys in the book? Because
Oh yeah.
I gotta
Oh, yeah.
memorize that.
Oh
Do
yeah.
we-
And you've got them on the, I think I've
Yes.
got them in 3 PowerPoint presentations you can
Yeah.
download and keep forever, you know, Joe.
That's good. That's good.
You'll treasure them for forever, these beautiful
Exactly.
PowerPoints, you know.
So we can download that, right?
Oh yeah, just Google coordinating conjunctions. I mean, you got
got it.
lots of information out there, and they're in your book, for sure they're in your book.
Yeah.
One more example. By studying English grammar, comma, we are learning to recognize different types of clauses, comma, and after we have practiced, comma, we will feel more confident writing academic sentences. I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm trying to show you some real sentences here, right? So where's my first verb phrase? My first verbs.
Are.
And what's connected to are?
We, sorry. We are
Are
learning.
learning.
Thank you.
We are learning.
Continue.
Right? I got a progressive tense, a continuous tense. Are is the auxiliary and learning is the verb. Where's my next verb?
Have.
We
So
have.
we have.
Have
No,
what?
have.
Have practice.
After this, we're getting ready for verb tenses, you guys. Remember, have practice, present perfect tense, auxiliary have, past participle of the main verb. Where's my next verb phrase?
Feel.
Will
Confident.
feel.
Feel.
Feels.
Good.
Will
Feel is
feel.
the verb, but will is the future auxiliary. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
So do we have a verb in here or not?
No.
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 Yeah. And we talked about this last
Bye.
week. Preposition. Dimitri is on it. Preposition. That means this must be a gerund, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This must be a noun. This must be the object noun phrase of the preposition by.
Position
Okay.
phrase.
So what was
So
your
where's-
question?
Yeah, porfa. Yeah, tell me. Wait, what? Do you have a
What was
question,
your,
Beatrice?
your question?
Oh, is there a verb in here? I was just making sure we understand. There's no verb
Okay,
in
okay.
here, right?
No.
This is a prepositional phrase. There's no verb in here.
Prepositional phrase. Preposition. Yeah, because start with the
This
preposition.
is a gerund. This is a preposition.
Mhm.
There's
Okay.
literally there's no subject. There's no noun to make this a real verb. It's not. This is an adjective. This is a noun. No subject, no verb, no clause. ¿Sabes? Nada. Okay, where are my subjects?
We.
We.
Thank you.
Again, we and we.
You're on it.
We.
Yep. Where are my conjunctions?
And
And
Yeah.
After.
Yes,
after. But that's a subordinate
it is.
conjunction.
It is.
So we
So we have 3 clauses. Now the
Three
real sort of
clauses.
test. I've given you a sort of weird example here to make you think. Do you want to do this test where we were saying, let's just test and see if we can figure it out.
so we have practice.
More confident.
So we'll feel more confident.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we are learning to recognize different types of clauses. Is that dependent or independent?
Independent.
Independent.
Yeah, independent.
It is. We can say this period. That's fine
Yeah.
by itself. That's
Yeah.
independent, right?
Yes.
How about,
Yeah.
and after we have practiced period,
Independent.
Independent.
excellent. And how about, we will feel more confident writing academic sentences, dependent or independent?
Independent.
You're on it. So I've got 2 independent clauses and 1 dependent clause. What is this type of sentence?
Complex.
Count,
Complex sentence.
complex, compound.
You're on it. Compound, complex. Compound, complex, complex, compound, compound, complex. Yeah, compound, complex.
Coordination, conjunction, and one dependent clause and subordinate conjunction. Yep.
Right?
Yes.
That's it. That's what we're doing.
But we have and we have after.
Yes,
And,
we do.
and it's our boy.
It is.
And
It is.
But the main idea in after, because yeah.
Watch this though. This is to answer Alexander's question.
Hmm.
Right? We could do it that way too. We are learning to recognize different types of clauses, comma, and we will feel more confident writing academic sentences after we have practiced. I wanted to show you, you can move clauses around. In this one, I put the 2 conjunctions next to each other. Now, you're not going to see that in every sentence, but even though, but you're right though, Alexandra, you've got both. You've got both.
More confident version. Oh yeah.
I'll do that again. I'll make it its own slide just so people can see that later if they want to, right? So this is like I was saying, we'll get more practice. Well, not too much, but we'll get a little more practice with this moving clauses around, but just so that you see, right? You could move the clause to say, we are learning to recognize different types of clauses, comma, and fanboy, we will feel more confident writing academic sentences after subordinator we have practiced. We could add a subject or an object, right? We could add a pronoun here, but it doesn't matter.
In this case,
please.
In this case, Professor, we have one more clause when we move the after to its previous place.
No, we definitely do not.
Don't? Because
No.
before that, the after was after the end, and
clauses are only about one thing. Subjects and verbs.
Subject,
we did not change. We did not change the number of subjects and verbs.
Yeah, I see. And it will confuse us because when we see the fanboy and beside of that the subordinated conjunction and close to each other, and we would think, how would I define my next sentences based on the subordinating conjunction or the coordinating conjunction?
That's why, again, I know we've been doing it 2 months now, you guys. 2 months you've been hearing me. I'm so sorry.
Right.
You poor guys. 2 months me saying, start with the verb, start with the verb, start with the verb. Because once you find the verb and the subject, Joed, it doesn't matter where the conjunctions are. It doesn't matter at all. If you've got 3 clauses, you've got got 3. That means you've got 3 clauses. You can find the conjunctions wherever they move in the sentence, right? But you got to start with the verb, find the subject, and then you know what you're working with. Then you can start to do a deeper analysis, right?
The thing was, like in the previous sentences, there was an and after, so we say that when there is like a fanboy between 2 classes, it means the both side class or independent class. But right now I have one conjunction like a fanboy, and beside of that subordinating. Oh, I would think, okay, if I think the both side is independent clause because there is an, and I would say, okay, no, probably because after and there is after, and it's a subordinating conjunction. Probably one side will be independent clause and the other side will be like a dependent clause. This will make me confused because I cannot think which should I put as a base, like an or after.
Well, they're both conjunctions. You can kind of imagine that the and kind of is secretly here, right? Kind of, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
But again,
connect with, we will feel more confident.
And that's why I wanted to show you, right? If you move the order of the clauses, you could have it, you could start with independent clause, coordinator, independent clause, subordinator, you can, but you can also do this, right? And when you do this, it's still 3 clauses. And is still a coordinator and after is still a subordinator. But again, it's a great question, Tawed, but it's why I don't make you identify every conjunction in your sentence. All I need you to be able to do is tell me the type of sentence, right? So
Okay.
you do have to figure it out, but we don't have to go word for word anymore, right?
Yeah,
It gets
yeah.
too much.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so because of that, I'm going to go, I'm going to go very quickly to show you grammar writing 2, and then I'll have questions. But what we just did together right now is what I'm asking you to do for grammar writing 2. So if we go to our page and you go to assignments, grammar writing 2 is now open. That's my least favorite sound, Barbara. And if you, oh God, here's the instructions, just like last time, okay? And here's the document. You know me, I'm gonna look at the Word document. So here's the instructions. For this assignment, I'm asking you to analyze your own subject noun phrases, verbs, and sentence types. So you can copy 8 sentences from your introduction letter or one of your discussion posts for this class. For this assignment, you can use the same 8 sentences that you used for grammar writing 1. That is fine with me if you want to do that. For each sentence, I want you to bold all the subject noun phrases. This will look familiar. Underline all the verbs. Then identify the total number of clauses and identify the type of sentence. So then, just like last time, I want you to write a 300-word reflection about what you learned from your analysis. I've tried to give you some very specific questions. If you're like, Jeff, I don't know what to write for the reflection. Okay, so after you analyze 8 sentences, I want you to write a short reflection about what you learned about your writing. What did you notice about your subject noun phrases? Were they long or short? Why do you think they are this way? What about your verbs? Do your clauses feature both verbs and other verb forms, like infinitives and gerunds? How does this affect your sentences? And what about your sentences? Do you use the same sentence type over and over? How do you think your sentence types affects the quality of your writing? There's no right or wrong answer to these questions, but again, just like last time, if you want to get that A+, if you want to get full credit, you need to say specific examples, right? Oh, in sentence number 3, I used the gerund form of the verb. Or, oh, in sentence number 6, I had a compound complex sentence. I was surprised. I didn't know I was using compound complex sentence. Whatever, right? Whatever. But the more specific, the better.
Professor, what happened if our sentences were not really too good or were not long enough?
If you think your sentences,
we still have to use our grammar 1.
if you want, you don't have to, Beatrice, if you want to use a different assignment, a different discussion post, anything that you've ever written, that's fine. As long as it's your own words, Beatrice, I don't care.
Okay.
And honestly, if you do this and you go, oh man, my sentences are so short and boring, that's still useful information for you guys. It really is, right?
Okay.
So I leave it to you. I leave it to you. This is really to help you learn about your own writing and grammar. It's not supposed to be, So the first draft next week, there's nothing due in Canvas, nothing new. I want you to do your best and get it to me next week. The grading and rubric is exactly the same, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it. But I gave you the template just like last time, and I gave you examples just like last time from my sentences, right? So use this as a template, right? Put your name here, right? Just download the document and change it. Use it as a template.
Okay.
And then again, and then I'm trying to give you more examples so you can see, right? One goal I have for this semester is to really focus on taking care of my students' needs this semester. One goal is my first subject noun phrase. That is connected to the verb is. I have is like a sneaky dependent clause inside of the main independent clause. You probably won't have sentences like this, but as long as you can say, well, this is a verb, we got to go find the subjects, right? 2 clauses, it's a complex sentence, no fanboy. Same one here, right? Obviously, comma, both 2020 and 21 were very difficult years, comma, and 2022 is already off to a hectic and stressful start, comma, as the Omicron variant is still creating. And we could say again, is still, if you wanted to call this, you know, again, I'm not picky about the verbs, you guys. I'm not picky about the verbs. Oh, sorry. 3 clauses, it's compound, right? And is a fanboy, as is a fanboy. That means 3 clauses, 2 fanboys, compound sentence. So all of these examples are here for you to look at, analyze, and use to help you in your own analysis, right? And this is all you've got to do. You don't need to identify which is dependent, which independent. You don't have to show me. You just have to know for yourself so that you can choose the right sentence type, okay? Questions?
Can we change some sentences or just
you
add a
want,
little more information?
Barbara, if you want to edit your sentences or add more to them, or if you want to write some sentences for this, as long as it's your own writing, Barbara, I'm a happy teacher.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. What else? Other questions? Because that's all I got. We can go 7 minutes early if we don't have any questions. This is really where you get to do analyzing the types of sentences. So again, if you look at it and you go, oh my gosh, I have 8 simple sentences, you can still get full credit for this assignment, right? But it's important to know that it's time to start writing longer and more interesting sentences. You know, it's time. So, you know, for the rest of the semester, it's useful information to have, you know. So as I say here, and I'll stop here, but as I say at the end, coming up, complete anything that you haven't finished. You can keep revising and resubmitting grammar writing 1. I will grade the revisions this weekend, right? And the only other new thing, that first draft for grammar writing 2, that is due 1 week from today.
Okay.
Questions?
No.
If not, I'm going to stop the recording and I'll stay and answer questions for anyone who does have them. But otherwise, if you're watching the recording, see you later.